First Book of Samuel. Chapter 1. 1 There was a man of one of the two Ramathaim Zophim, of Mount Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah the son of Iroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite, 2 And he had 2 wives, the name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah, and Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. 3 And this man went out of his city a year, to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts in Shiloh, where were the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas priests of the Lord. 4 And on a day, when Elkanah sacrificed, he gave to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and daughters portions. 5 But to Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he lewd Hannah, and the Lord had made her barren. 6 And her adversary vexed her sore, forasmuch as she braided her, because the Lord had made her barren. 7 And so did he year by year, and as oft as she went to the house of the Lord, thus she vexed her, that she wept and did not eat. 8 Then said Elkanah her husband to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? And why is thine heart troubled? Am not I better to thee than 10 sons? 9 So Hannah rose after that they had eaten and drunk in Shiloh, and Eli the priest sate upon a stool by one of the posts of the temple of the Lord. 10 And she was troubled in her mind, and prayed to the Lord, and wept sore. 11 Also she vowed a vow, and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt look on the trouble of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but jew to thine handmaid a man-child, then I will jew him to the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. 12 And as she continued praying before the Lord, Eli marked her mouth. 13 For Hannah spake in her heart, her lips did move onely, but her voice was not heard, therefore Eli thought she had been a drunken. 14 And Eli said to her, How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy drunkenness from thee. 15 Then Hannah answered and said, Nay my lord, but I am a woman troubled in spirit, I ha drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but ha poured out my soul before the Lord. 16 Count not thine handmaid for a wicked woman, for of the abundance of my complaint and my grief ha I spoken hitherto. 17 Then Eli answered, and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thy petition that thou hast asked of him. 18 She said again, Let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way, and did eat, and looked no more sad. 19 Then they rose early, and worshipped before the Lord, and returned, and came to their house to Ramah. Now Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. 22 But Hannah went not for she said to her husband, I will tarry till the child be weaned, then I will bring him that he may appear before the Lord, and there abide for ewer. 23 And Elkanah her husband said to her, Do what seemeth thee best, tarry till thou hast weaned him, only the Lord accomplish his word. So the woman abode, and gave her son suck till she weaned him. 24 And when she had weaned him, she took him with her with 3 bullocks and an ephah of flour and a bottle of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord in Shiloh, and the child was young. 25 And they slew a bullock, and brought the child to Eli. 26 And she said, O my lord, as thy soul liveth, my lord, I am the woman that stood with thee here praying to the Lord. 27 I prayed for this child, and the Lord hath joined me my desire which I asked of him. 28 Therefore also I ha joined him to the Lord, as long as he liveth he shall be joined to the Lord, and he worshipped the Lord there. Chapter 2. 1 And Hannah prayed, and said, Mine heart rejoiceth in the Lord, mine horn is exalted in the Lord, my mouth is enlarged O ye are mine enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. 2 There is none holy as the Lord, yea, there is none besides thee, and there is no God like our God. 3 Speak no more presumptuously, let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him enterprises are established. For the bow and the mighty men are broken, and the weak ha girded themselves with strength. 5 They that were full, are hired forth for bread, and the hungry are no more hired, so that the barren hath borne Suan, and she that had many children, is feeble. 6 The Lord killeth and mocketh Elihu, bringeth down to the ground and riseth vp. 7 The Lord mocketh poor and mocketh rich, bringeth low, and exalteth. 8 He riseth vp poor out of the dust, and lifteth vp the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the seat of glory, for the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. 9 He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall keep silence and darkens, for in his own might shall no man be strong. 10 The Lord's adversaries shall be destroyed, and out of Hohen shall he thunder upon them. The Lord shall judge the endies of the world, and shall due power to his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. 11 And Elkanah went to Ramah to his house, and the child did minister to the Lord before Eli the priest. 12 Now the sons of Eli were wicked men, and knew not the Lord. 13 For the priest's custom toward the people was this: when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's boy came, while the flesh was seething, and a flesh hook with 3 teeth, in his hand. 14 And thrust it into the kettle, or into the cauldron, or into the pan, or into the pot. All that the flesh hook brought the priest took for himself. Thus they did to all the Israelites that came thither to Shiloh. 15 Before they burnt the fat, the priest's boy came and said to the man that offered, Jimmy flesh to roast for the priest, for he will not ha sodden flesh of thee, but raw. 16 And if any man said to him, Let them burn the fat according to the custom, then take as much as thine heart desireth, then he would answer, No, but thou shalt do it now, and if thou wilt not, I will take it by force. 17 Therefore the sin of the young men was very great before the Lord, for men abhorred the offering of the Lord. 18 Now Samuel being a young child ministered before the Lord, girded with a linen ephod. 19 And his mother made him a little coat, and brought it to him from year to year, when she came with her husband, to offer the yearly sacrifice. 20 And Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife, and said, The Lord give thee seed of this woman, for the petition that she asked of the Lord, and they departed to their place. 21 And the Lord visited Hannah, so that she conceived, and bare 3 sons, and 2 daughters. And the child Samuel grew before the Lord. 22 So Eli was very old, and heard all that his sons did to all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. 23 And he said to them, Why do ye such things? For of all this people I hear ill reports of you. 24 Do no more, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear, which is, that ye make the Lord's people to trespass. 25 If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge it, but if a man sin against the Lord, who will plead for him? Notwithstanding they obeyed not the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them. 26 Now the child Samuel profited and grew, and was in favor both with the Lord and also with men. 27 And there came a man of God to Eli, and said to him, Thus saith the Lord, Did not I plainly appear to the house of thy father, when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? 28 And I chose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon mine altar, and to burn incense, and to wear an ephod before me, and I gave to the house of thy father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel. 29 Wherefore ha you kicked against my sacrifice and mine offering, which I commanded in my tabernacle, and honorest thy children above me, to make yourselves fat of the first fruits of all the offerings of Israel my people? 30 Wherefore the Lord God of Israel saith, I said, that thine house and the house of thy father should walk before me for ewer, but now the Lord saith, It shall not be so, for them that honor me, I will honor, and they that despise me, shall be despised. 31 Behold, the days come, that I will cut off thine arm, and the arm of thy father's house, that there shall not be an old man in thine house. 32 And thou shalt see thine enemy in the habitation of the Lord in all things wherewith God shall bless Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house for ewer. 33 Nevertheless, I will not destroy Uri one of thine from mine altar, to make thine eyes to fail, and to make thine heart sorrowful, and all ye multitude of thine house shall die when they be men. 34 And this shall be a sign to thee, that shall come upon thy 2 sons Hophni and Phinehas, in one day they shall die both. 35 And I will stir me a faithful priest, that shall do according to mine heart and according to my mind, and I will build him a sure house, and he shall walk before mine anointed for ewer. 36 And all that are left in thine house, shall come and bow down to him for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread, and shall say, Appoint me, I pray thee, to one of the priest's offices, that I may eat a morsel of bread. Chapter 3 1 Now the child Samuel ministered to the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days, for there was no manifest vision. 2 And at that time, as Eli lay in his place, his eyes began to wax dim that he could not see. 3 And yet the light of God went out. Samuel slept in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was. For then the Lord called Samuel, and he said, Here I am. 5 And he ran to Eli, and said, Here am I, for thou calledst me. But he said, I called thee not, go again and sleep. And he went and slept. 6 And the Lord called once again, Samuel. And Samuel arose, and went to Eli, and said, I am here, for thou didst call me. And he answered, I called thee not, my son, go again and sleep. 7 Thus did Samuel, before he knew the Lord, and before the word of the Lord was revealed to him. 8 And the Lord called Samuel again the third time, and he arose, and went to Eli, and said, I am here, for thou hast called me. Then Eli perceived that the Lord had called the child. 9 Therefore Eli said to Samuel, Go, and sleep, and if he call thee, then say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went, and slept in his place. 10 And the Lord came, and stood, and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth. 11 Then the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, whereof whosoever shall hear, his 2 ears shall tingle. 12 In that day I will raise VP against Eli all things which I ha spoken concerning his house, when I begin, I will also make an endy. 13 And I ha told a him that I will judge his house for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons ran into a slander, and he stayed them not. 14 Now therefore I ha sworn to the house of Eli, that the wickedness of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering for ewer. 15 Afterward Samuel slept till the morning, and opened the doors of the house of the Lord, and Samuel feared to shew Eli the vision. 16 Then Eli called Samuel, and said, Samuel my son. And he answered, Here I am. 17 Then he said, What is it that the Lord said to thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. God do so to thee, and more also, if thou hide anything from me, of all that he said to thee. 18 So Samuel told him every whit, and hid nothing from him. Then he said, It is the Lord, let him do what seemeth him good. 19 And Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and let none of his words fall to the ground. 20 And all Israel from Dan to Beersheba knew that faithful Samuel was the Lord's prophet. 21 And the Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by his word. Chapter 4 1 And Samuel spake to all Israel, and Israel went out against the Philistines to Bath-tel and pitched beside Ebenezer, and the Philistines pitched in Aphek. 2 And the Philistines put themselves in array against Israel, and when they ironed the battle, Israel was smitten down before the Philistines, who slew of the army in the field about 4,000 men. 3 So when the people were come into the camp, the elders of Israel said, Wherefore hath the Lord smitten versus this day before ye Philistines? Let versus bring the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of Shiloh to versus, that when it cometh among versus, it may saw versus out of the hand of our enemies. For then the people sent to Shiloh, and brought from thence the ark of the covenant of the Lord of hosts, who dwelleth between the cherubims, and there were the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas, with the ark of the covenant of God. 5 And when the ark of the covenant of the Lord came into the host, all Israel shouted a mighty shoudah, so that the earth rang again. 6 And when the Philistines heard the noise of the shoudah, they said, What meaneth the sound of this mighty shoudah in the host of the Hebrews? And they understood that the ark of the Lord was come into the host. 7 And the Philistines were afraid, and said, God is come into the host, therefore said they, Woven to versus, for it hath not been so heretofore. 8 Woven to versus, who shall deliver versus out of the hand of these mighty gods? These are the gods that smote the Egyptians with all the plagues in the wilderness. 9 Be strong and play the men, O Philistines, that ye be not servants to the Hebrews, as they ha served you, be valiant therefore, and fight. 10 And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten down, and fled every man into his tent, and there was an exceeding great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen. 11 And the ark of God was taken, and the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas died. 12 And there ran a man of Benjamin out of the army, and came to Shiloh the same day with his clothes rent, and earth upon his head. 13 And when he came, lo, Eli sate upon a seat by the wayside, waiting, for his heart feared for the ark of God. And when the man came into the city to tell it, all the city cried out. 14 And when Eli heard the noise of the crying, he said, What meaneth this noise of the tumult? And the man came in hastily, and told Eli. 15 Now Eli was 80 and his eyes were dim that he could not see. 16 And the man said to Eli, I came from the army, and I fled this day out of the host. And he said, What thing is done, my son? 17 Then the messenger answered and said, Israel is fled before the Philistines, and there hath been also a great slaughter among the people, and moreover thy 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas are dead, and the ark of God is taken. 18 And when he had made mention of the ark of God, Eli fell from his seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck was broken, and he died, for he was an old man and hoary, and he had judged Israel 40 years. 19 And his daughter-in-law Phinehas' wife was with child near her trowel, and when she heard the report that the ark of God was taken, and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed herself, and trowled, for her pains came upon her. 20 And about the time of her death, the women that stood about her, said to her, Fear not, for thou hast borne a son, but she answered not, nor regarded it. 21 And she named the child Ichabod, saying, The glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of God was taken, and because of her father-in-law and her husband. 22 She said again, The glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken. Chapter 5 1 Then the Philistines took the ark of God and carried it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. 2 And the Philistines took the ark of God, and brought it into the house of Dagon, and set it by Dagon. 3 And when they of Ashdod rose the next day in the morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord, and they took Dagon, and set him in his place again. For also they rose early in the morning the next day, and behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon and the 2 palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold, only the stump of Dagon was left to him. 5 Therefore the priests of Dagon, and all that come into Dagon's house tread not on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod, to this day. 6 But the hand of the Lord was holy upon them of Ashdod, and destroyed them, and smote them with the emerods, both Ashdod, and the coasts thereof. 7 And when the men of Ashdod saw this, they said, Let not the ark of the God of Israel abide with Versus, for his hand is sore upon Versus and upon Dagon our God. 8 They sent therefore and gathered all the princes of the Philistines to them, and said, What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? And they answered, Let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about to Gath. And they carried the ark of the God of Israel about. 9 And when they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction, and he smote the men of the city both small and great, and they had emerods in their secret parties. 10 Therefore they sent the ark of God to Ekron, and as soon as the ark of God came to Ekron, the Ekronites cried out, saying, They ha brought the ark of the God of Israel to Versus to slay Versus and our people. 11 Therefore they sent, and gathered together all the princes of the Philistines and said, Send away the ark of the God of Israel, and let it return to his own place, that it slay Versus not and our people, for there was a destruction and death throughout all the city, and the hand of God was very sore there. 12 And the men that died not, were smitten with the emerods, and the cry of the city went to Hoen. Chapter 6 1 So the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines Suan Munis. 2 And the Philistines called the priests and the soothsayers, saying, What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell Versus wherewith we shall send it home again. 3 And they said, If you send away the ark of the God of Israel, send it not away empty, but give to it a sin offering, then shall ye be healed, and it shall be known to you, why his hand departeth not from you. For then said they, What shall be the sin offering, which we shall give to it? And they answered, Few golden emerods and few golden mice, according to the number of the princes of the Philistines, for one plague was on you all, and on your princes. 5 Wherefore ye shall make the similitudes of your emerods, and the similitudes of your mice that destroy the land, so ye shall give glory to the God of Israel, that he may take his hand from you, and from your gods, and from your land. 6 Wherefore then should ye harden your hearts, as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts? When he wrought wonderfully among them, did they not let them go, and they departed? 7 Now therefore make a new cart, and take 2 milch kine, on whom there hath come no yoke, and tie the kine to the cart, and bring the calews home from them. 8 Then take the ark of the Lord, and set it upon the cart, and put the ewels of gold which ye jew it for a sin offering in a coffer by the side thereof, and send it away, that it may go. 9 And take heed, if it go vp by the way of his own coast to Bethshemesh, it is he that did versus this great yule, but if not, we shall know then, that it is not his hand that smote versus, but it was a chance that happened versus 10 And the men did so, for they took 2 kine that gae milk, and tied them to the cart, and shut the calews at home. 11 So they set the ark of the Lord upon the cart, and the coffer with the mice of gold, and with the similitudes of their emerods. 12 And the kine went the straight way to Bethshemesh, and kept one path and load as they went, and turned neither to the right hand nor to the left. Also the princes of the Philistines went after them, to the borders of Bethshemesh. 13 Now they of Bethshemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley, and they lift vp their eyes, and spied the ark, and rejoiced when they saw it. 14 And the cart came into the fielda of Ioshua Bethshemite, and stood still there. There was also a great stone, and they claw the wood of the cart, and offered the kine for a burnt offering to the Lord. 15 And the Lewites took down the ark of the Lord, and the coffer that was with it, wherein the ewels of gold were, and put them on the great stone, and the men of Bethshemesh offered burnt offering, and sacrificed sacrifices that same day to the Lord. 16 And when the few princes of ye Philistines had seen it, they returned to Ekron the same day. 17 So these are the golden emerods, which the Philistines gave for a sin offering to the Lord, for Ashdod 1, for Gaza 1, for Askelon 1, for Gath 1, and for Ekron 1, 18 And golden mice, according to the number of all the cities of the Philistines, belonging to the few princes, both of walled towns, and of towns walled, to the great stone of Abel, whereon they set the ark of the Lord, which stone remaineth to this day in the fielda of Ioshua the Bethshemite. 19 And he smote of the men of Bethshemesh, because they had looked in the ark of the Lord, he slew Ewan among the people 50,000 men and 60 men. And the people lamented, because the Lord had slain the people with so great a slaughter. 20 Wherefore the men of Bethshemesh said, Who is able to stand before this holy Lord God? And to whom shall he go from versus? 21 And they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kiriathaim, saying, The Philistines ha brought again the ark of the Lord, come ye down and take it vp to you. Chapter 7 1 Then the men of Kiriathaim came, and took vp the ark of the Lord, and brought it into the house of Abinadab in the hill, and they sanctified Eleazar his son, to keep the ark of the Lord. 2 For while the ark abode in Kiriathaim, the time was long, for it was 20 years. And all the house of Israel lamented after ye Lord. 3 Then Samuel spake to all the house of Israel, saying, If ye be come again to the Lord with all your heart, put away the strange gods from among you, and Ashtaroth, and direct your hearts to the Lord, and serve him only, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of ye Philistines. For then the children of Israel did put away Baalim and Ashtaroth, and served the Lord only. 5 And Samuel said, Gather all Israel to Mizpeh, and I will pray for you to the Lord. 6 And they gathered together to Mizpeh, and drew water and poured it out before the Lord, and fasted the same day, and said there, We ha sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpeh. 7 When the Philistines heard that the children of Israel were gathered together to Mizpeh, the princes of the Philistines went vp against Israel, and when the children of Israel heard that, they were afraid of the Philistines. 8 And the children of Israel said to Samuel, Cease not to cry to the Lord our God for versus, that he may saw versus out of the hand of the Philistines. 9 Then Samuel took a sucking lamb, and offered it all together for a burnt offering to the Lord, and Samuel cried to the Lord for Israel, and the Lord heard him. 10 And as Samuel offered the burnt offering, the Philistines came to fight against Israel, but the Lord thundered with a great thunder that day upon the Philistines, and scattered them, so they were slain before Israel. 11 And the men of Israel went from Mizpeh and pursued the Philistines, and smote them till they came Vender Bethkar. 12 Then Samuel took a stone and pitched it between Mizpeh and Shen, and called the name thereof Ebenezer, and he said, hitherto hath the Lord holpen. Verses 13. So the Philistines were brought thender, and they came no more again into the coasts of Israel, and the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. 14. Also the cities which the Philistines had taken from Israel, were restored to Israel, from Ekron Uan to Gath, and Israel delivered the coasts of the same out of the hands of the Philistines, and there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. 15. And Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life. 16. And went about year by year to Bethel, and Gilgal, and Mizpeh, and judged Israel in all those places. 17. Afterward he returned to Ramah, for there was his house, and there he judged Israel, also he built an altar there to the Lord. Chapter 8. 1. When Samuel was now become old, he made his sons judges over Israel. 2. And the name of his eldest son was Ioel, and the name of the second Abiah, judges in Beersheba. 3. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took rewards, and perverted the judgment. For wherefore all the elders of Israel gathered them together, and came to Samuel to Ramah. 5. And said to him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Make versus now a king to judge versus like all nations. 6. But the thing displeased Samuel, when they said, Jew versus a king to judge versus, and Samuel prayed to the Lord. 7. And the Lord said to Samuel, Hear the voice of the people in all that they shall say to thee, for they ha not cast thee away, but they ha cast me away, that I should not reign over the 8. As they ha you were done since I brought them out of Egypt even to this day, and ha forsaken me, and served other gods, and so do they to thee. 9. Now therefore hearken to their voice, howbeit yet testify to them, and show them the manner of ye king that shall reign over them. 10. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people that asked a king of him. 11. And he said, This shall be the manner of the king that shall reign over you, he will take your sons, and appoint them to his charrettes, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariot. 12. Also he will make them his captains over thousands, and captains over fifties, and to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make instruments of war, and the things that serve for his charrettes. 13. He will also take your daughters and make them apothecaries, and cooks, and bakers. 14. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your best olive trees, and give them to his servants. 15. And he will take the tenth of your seed, and of your vineyards, and give it to his eunuchs, and to his servants. 16. And he will take your men servants, and your maid servants, and the chief of your young men, and your asses, and put them to his work. 17. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. 18. And ye shall cry out at that day, because of your king, whom ye ha chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you at that day. 19. But the people would not hear the voice of Samuel, but did say, Nay, but there shall be a king over. Verses 20. And we also will be like all other nations, and our king shall judge versus, and go out before versus, and fight our battles. 21. Therefore when Samuel heard all ye words of ye people, he rehearsed thee in ye ears of ye Lord. 22. And the Lord said to Samuel, Hearken to their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said to the men of Israel, Go every man to his city. Chapter 9. 1. There was now a man of Benjamin, mighty in power, named Kish, the son of Abel, the son of Zerah, the son of Bechorath, the son of Aphiah, the son of a man of Iamani. 2. And he had a son called Saul, a goodly young man and a fair, so that among the children of Israel there was none goodlier than he, from the shoulders upward he was higher than any of the people. 3. And the asses of Kish Saul's father were lost, therefore Kish said to Saul his son, Take now one of the servants with thee, and arise, go, and seek the asses. For so he passed through Mount Ephraim, and went through the land of Shalisha, but they found them not. Then they went through the land of Shalem, and there they were not. He went also through ye land of Iamani, but they found them not. 5. When they came to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant that was with him, Come and let versus return, lest my father lo the care of asses, and take thought for verses 6. And he said to him, Behold now, in this city is a man of God, and he is an honorable man, all that he saith cometh to pass. Let versus now go thither, if so be that he can show versus what way we may go. 7. Then said Saul to his servant, Well then, let versus go, but what shall we bring to the man? For the bread is spent in our vessels, and there is no present to bring to the man of God, what ha we? 8 And the Syrian answered Saul again, and said, Behold, I ha found about me the fourth part of a shekel of silver, that will I gie the man of God, to tell versus our way. 9 Before time in Israel when a man went to seek an answer of God, thus he spake, Come, and let versus go to the seer, for he that is called now a prophet, was in the old time called a seer. 10 Then said Saul to his servant, Well said, Come, let versus go. So they went into the city where the man of God was. 11 And as they were going vp the highway to the city, they found maids that came out to draw water, and said to them, Is there here a seer? 12 And they answered them, and said, Yea, lo, he is before you, make haste now, for he came this day to the city, for there is an offering of the people this day in the high place. 13 When ye shall come into the city, ye shall find him straightway yet he come vp to the high place to eat, for the people will not eat till he come, because he will bless the sacrifice, and then eat they that be bidden to the feast. Now therefore go vp, for you and now shall ye find him. 14 Then they went vp into the city, and when they were come into the middes of the city, Samuel came out against them, to go vp to the high place. 15 But the Lord had rewailed to Samuel secretly, a day before Saul came, saying, 16 Tomorrow about this time I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin, him shalt thou anoint to be governor over my people Israel, that he may saw my people out of the hands of the Philistines, for I ha looked upon my people, and their cry is come to me. 17 When Samuel therefore saw Saul, the Lord answered him, See, this is the man whom I spake to thee of, he shall rule my people. 18 Then went Saul to Samuel in the middes of the gate, and said, Tell me, I pray thee, where the seer's house is. 19 And Samuel answered Saul, and said, I am the seer, go vp before me to the high place, for ye shall eat with me today. And tomorrow I will let thee go, and will tell thee all that is in thine heart. 20 And as for thine asses that were lost 3 days ago, care not for them, for they are found. And on whom is set all the desire of Israel? Is it not upon thee and on all thy father's house? 21 But Saul answered, and said, Am not I the son of Iamani of the smallest tribe of Israel? And my family is the least of all the families of the tribe of Benjamin. Wherefore then speakest thou so to me? 22 And Samuel took Saul and his servant, and brought them into the chamber, and made them sit in the chiefest place among them that were bidden, which were about 30 persons. 23 And Samuel said to the cook, Bring forth the portion which I gave thee, and whereof I said to thee, Keep it with thee. 24 And the cook took vp the shoulder, and that which was upon it, and set it before Saul. And Samuel said, Behold, that which is left, set it before thee and eat, for hitherto hath it been kept for thee, saying, Also I ha called the people. So Saul did eat with Samuel that day. 25 And when they were come down from the high place into the city, he communed with Saul upon the top of the house. 26 And when they arose early about ye spring of the day, Samuel called Saul to the top of the house, saying, Vp, that I may send thee away. And Saul arose, and they went out, both he, and Samuel. 27 And when they were come down to the end of the city, Samuel said to Saul, Bid the servant go before versus, and he went, but stand thou still now, that I may shew thee the word of God. Chapter 10 1 Then Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it upon his head, and kissed him, and said, Hath not the Lord anointed thee to be governor over his inheritance? 2 When thou shalt depart from me this day, thou shalt find 2 men by Rahel's sepulchre in the border of Benjamin, and at Zelzah, and they will say to thee, The asses which thou wentest to seek, are found, and lo, thy father hath left the care of the asses, and sorroweth for you, saying, What shall I do for my son? 3 Then shalt thou go forth from thence and shalt come to the plain of Tabor, and there shall meet thee 3 men going vp to God to Bethel, one carrying 3 kittas, and another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a bottle of wine. 4 And they will ask thee if all be well, and will give thee the 2 loaves of bread, which thou shalt receive of their hands. 5 After that shalt thou come to the hill of God, where is the garrisons of the Philistines, and when thou art come thither to the city, thou shalt meet a company of prophets coming down from the high place with a viol, and a timbrel, and a pipe, and an harp before them, and they shall prophesy. 6 Then the Spirit of the Lord will come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them, and shalt be turned into another man. 7 Therefore when these signs shall come to thee, do as occasion shall Saru, for God is with thee. 8 And thou shalt go down before me to Gilgal, and I also will come down to thee to offer burnt offerings, and to sacrifice sacrifices of peace. Tarry for me 7 days, till I come to thee and shew thee what thou shalt do. 9 And when he had turned his back to go from Samuel, God gave him another heart, and all those tokens came to pass that same day. 10 And when they came thither to the hill, behold, the company of prophets meet him, and the Spirit of God came upon him, and he prophesied among them. 11 Therefore all the people that knew him before, when they saw that he prophesied among the prophets, said each to other, What is come to the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets? 12 And one of the same place answered, and said, But who is their father? Therefore it was a proverb, Is Saul also among the prophets? 13 And when he had made an end of prophesying, he came to the high place. 14 And Saul's bankel said to him, and to his servant, Whither went ye? And he said, To seek the asses, and when we saw that they were nowhere, we came to Samuel. 15 And Saul's bankel said, Tell me, I pray thee, what Samuel said to you. 16 Then Saul said to his bankel, He told of verses plainly that the asses were found, but concerning the kingdom whereof Samuel spake, told he him not. 17 And Samuel assembled the people to the Lord in Mizpeh. 18 And he said to the children of Israel, Thus saith ye Lord God of Israel, I ha brought Israel out of Egypt, and delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hands of all kingdoms that troubled you. 19 But ye ha this day cast away your God, who only delivereth you out of all your adversities and tribulations. And ye said to him, No, but appoint a king o you versus now therefore stand ye before the Lord according to your tribes, and according to your thousands. 20 And when Samuel had gathered together all the tribes of Israel, the tribe of Benjamin was taken. 21 Afterward he assembled the tribe of Benjamin according to their families, and the family of Matri was taken. So Saul the son of Kish was taken, and when they sought him, he could not be found. 22 Therefore they asked the Lord again, if that man should yet come thither. And the Lord answered, Behold, he hath hid himself among the stuff. 23 And they ran, and brought him thence, and when he stood among the people, he was here than any of the people from the shoulders poured. 24 And Samuel said to all the people, See ye not him, whom the Lord hath chosen, that there is none like him among all the people? And all the people shouted and said, God saw the king. 25 Then Samuel told the people the duty of the kingdom, and wrote it in a book, and laid it vp before the Lord, and Samuel sent all the people away every man to his house. 26 Saul also went home to Gibeah, and there followed him a band of men, whose heart God had touched. 27 But the wicked men said, How shall he saw versus? So they despised him, and brought him no presents, but he held his tongue. Chapter 11 1 Then Nahash the Ammonite came vp, and besieged Iabesh Gilead, and all the men of Iabesh said to Nahash, Make acquainted with versus, and we will be thy servants. 2 And Nahash the Ammonite answered them, On this condition will I make acquainted with you, that I may thrust out all your righty eyes, and bring that shame upon all Israel. 3 To whom the elders of Iabesh said, Jew versus 7 days respite, that we may send messengers to all the coasts of Israel, and then if no man delay your versus, we will come out to thee. For then came the messengers to Gibeah of Saul, and told of these tidings in the ears of the people, and all the people lift vp their voices and wept. 5 And behold, Saul came following the cattle out of the fielda, and Saul said, What aileth this people, that they weep? And they told him the tidings of the men of Iabesh. 6 Then the Spirit of God came upon Saul, when he heard those tidings, and he was exceeding angry. 7 And took a yoke of oxen, and hewed them in pieces, and sent them throughout all the coasts of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying, Whosoever cometh not forth after Saul, and after Samuel, so shall his oxen be serried. And the fear of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out with one consent. 8 And when he numbered them in Bezek, the children of Israel were 300,000 men, and the men of Judah 30,000. 9 Then they said to the messengers that came, So said to the men of Iabesh Gilead, Tomorrow by then the sun be out, ye shall ha help. And the messengers came and shewed it to the men of Iabesh, which were glad. 10 Therefore the men of Iabesh said, Tomorrow we will come out to you, and ye shall do with verses all that pleaseth you. 11 And when the morrow was come, Saul put the people in 3 bands, and they came in upon the host in the morning watche, and slew the Ammonites until the heat of the day, and they that remained were scattered, so that 2 of them were not left together. 12 Then the people said unto Samuel, Who is he that said, Shall Saul reign o you versus? Bring those men that we may slay them. 13 But Saul said, There shall no man die this day, for today the Lord hath sought Israel. 14 Then said Samuel to ye people, Come, that we may go to Gilgal, and renew the kingdom there. 15 So all the people went to Gilgal, and made Saul king there before the Lord in Gilgal, and there they offered peace offerings before the Lord, and there Saul and all the men of Israel rejoiced exceedingly. Chapter 12. 1 Samuel then said unto all Israel, Behold, I ha hearkened to your voice in all that ye said unto me, and ha appointed a king o you. 2 Now therefore behold, your king walketh before you, and I am old and grey-headed, and behold, my sons are with you, and I ha walked before you from my childhood unto this day. 3 Behold, here I am, bear record of me before the Lord and before his anointed. Whose ox ha I taken? Or whose assy ha I taken? Or whom ha I done wrong to? Or whom ha I hurt? Or of whose hand ha I received any bribe, to blind mine eyes therewith, and I will restore it you? For then they said, Thou hast done versus no wrong, nor hast hurt versus, neither hast thou taken aught of any man's hand. 5 And he said unto them, The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day, that ye ha found naught in mine hands. And they answered, He is witness. 6 Then Samuel said unto the people, It is the Lord that made Moses and Aaron, and that brought your fathers out of the land of Egypt. 7 Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before the Lord according to all the righteousness of the Lord, which he shewed to you and to your fathers. 8 After that Iacob was come into Egypt, and your fathers cried unto the Lord, then the Lord sent Moses and Aaron which brought your fathers out of Egypt, and made them dwell in this place. 9 And when they forgate the Lord their God, he sold them into the hand of Sisera captain of the host of Hazor, and into the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of the king of Moab, and they fought against them. 10 And they cried unto the Lord, and said, We ha sinned, because we ha forsaken the Lord, and ha served Baalim and Ashtaroth. Now therefore deliver versus out of the hands of our enemies, and we will serve thee. 11 Therefore the Lord sent Jerubbaal and Bedan and Iftaph, and Samuel, and delivered you out of the hands of your enemies on Uri side, and ye dwelled safe. 12 Notwithstanding when you saw that Nahash the king of the children of Ammon came against you, ye said unto me, No, but a king shall reign o you versus, when yet the Lord your God was your king. 13 Now therefore behold the king whom ye ha chosen, and whom ye ha desired, lo therefore, the Lord hath set a king o you. 14 If ye will fear the Lord and serve him, and hear his voice, and not disobey the word of the Lord, both ye, and the king that reigneth o you, shall follow the Lord your God. 15 But if ye will not obey the voice of the Lord, but disobey the Lord's mouth, then shall the hand of the Lord be upon you, and on your fathers. 16 Now also stand and see this great thing which the Lord will do before your eyes. 17 Is it not now wheat harvest? I will call to the Lord, and he shall send thunder and rain, that ye may perceive and see, how that your wickedness is great, which ye ha done in the sight of the Lord in asking you a king. 18 Then Samuel called unto the Lord, and the Lord sent thunder and rain the same day, and all the people feared the Lord and Samuel exceedingly. 19 And all the people said unto Samuel, Pray for thy servants unto the Lord thy God, that we die not, for we ha sinned in asking versus a king, beside all our other sins. 20 And Samuel said unto the people, Fear not. Ye ha indeed done all this wickedness, yet depart not from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. 21 Neither turn ye back, for that should be after vain things which cannot profit you, nor deliver you, for they are but vanity. 22 For the Lord will not forsake his people for his great name's sake, because it hath pleased the Lord to make you his people. 23 Moreover God forbid that I should sin against the Lord, and cease praying for you, but I will shew you the good and right way. 24 Therefore fear you the Lord, and serve him in the truth with all your hearts, and consider how great things he hath done for you. 25 But if ye do wickedly, ye shall perish, both ye, and your king. Chapter 13. 1 Saul now had been king 1 year, and he reigned 2 years over Israel. 2 Then Saul chose him 3,000 of Israel, and 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash, and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 were with Ionathan in Gibeah of Benjamin, and the rest of the people he sent Uri one to his tent. 3 And Ionathan smote the garrison of the Philistines, that was in the hill, and it came to the Philistines' ears, and Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, Hear, O ye Hebrews. 4 And all Israel heard say, Saul hath destroyed a garrison of the Philistines, wherefore Israel was had an abomination with the Philistines, and the people gathered together after Saul to Gilgal. 5 The Philistines also gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 charrees, and 6,000 horsemen, for the people was like the sand which is by the sea's side in multitude, and came and pitched in Michmash eastward from Bethon. 6 And when the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were in distress, the people hid themselves in caves, and in holds, and in rocks, and in torres, and in pits. 7 And some of the Hebrews went Iordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. And Saul was yet in Gilgal, and all the people for fear followed him. 8 And he tarried 7 days, according to the time that Samuel had appointed, but Samuel came not to Gilgal, therefore the people were scattered from him. 9 And Saul said, Bring a burnt offering to me and peace offerings, and he offered a burnt offering. 10 And as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came, and Saul went forth to meet him, to salute him. 11 And Samuel said, What hast thou done? Then Saul said, Because I saw that the people was scattered from me, and that thou camest not within the days appointed, and that the Philistines gathered themselves together to Michmash. 12 Therefore said I, The Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I ha not made supplication to the Lord. I was bold therefore and offered a burnt offering. 13 And Samuel said to Saul, Thou hast done foolishly, thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee, for the Lord had now established thy kingdom upon Israel for ever. 14 But now thy kingdom shall not continue, the Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart, and the Lord hath commanded him to be governor over his people, because thou hast not kept that which the Lord had commanded thee. 15 And Samuel arose, and gave him from Gilgal and Gibeah of Benjamin, and Saul numbered the people that were found with him, about 600 men. 16 And Saul and Ionathan his son, and the people that were found with them, had their abiding in Gibeah of Benjamin, but the Philistines pitched in Michmash. 17 And there came out of the host of the Philistines 3 bands to destroy, one band turned to the way of Ophrah to the land of Shual, 18 And another band turned toward the way to Beth-horon, and the third band turned toward the way of the coast that looketh toward the valley of Zeboim, toward the wilderness. 19 Then there was no smith found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, Lest the Hebrews make them swords or spears. 20 Wherefore all ye Israelites went down to the Philistines, to sharpen Uri man his share, his mattock, and his axe, and his weeding hook. 21 Yet they had a file for the shares, and for the mattocks, and for the pick-forks, and for the axes, and for to sharpen the goads. 22 So the day of battle was come, there was neither sword nor spear found in the hands of any of the people that were with Saul and with Ionathan, but only with Saul and Ionathan his son was there found. 23 And the garrison of the Philistines came out to the passage of Michmash. Chapter 14. 1 Then on a day Ionathan the son of Saul said to the young man that bare his armor, Come and let versus go toward the Philistines' garrison, that is yonder on the other side, but he told not his father. 2 And Saul tarried in the border of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree, which was in Migron, and the people that were with him, were about 600 men. 3 And Ahiah the son of Ahitub, Ichabod's brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, was the Lord's priest in Shiloh, and ware an ephod, and the people knew not that Ionathan was gone. For now in the way whereby Ionathan sought to go to the Philistines' garrison, there was a sharp rock on the one side, and a sharp rock on the other side, the name of the one was called Bozez, and the name of the other Sene. 5 The one rock stretched from the north toward Michmash, and the other was from the south toward Gibeah. 6 And Ionathan said to the young man that bare his armor, Come, and let versus go to the garrison of these uncircumcised, it may be that the Lord will work with versus, for it is not hard to the Lord to saw with many, or with few. 7 And he that bare his armor, said to him, Do all that is in thine heart, go where it pleaseth thee, behold, I am with thee as thine heart desireth. 8 Then said Ionathan, Behold, we go o you ear to those men, and will shew ourselves to them. 9 If they say on this wise to Versus, Tarry till we come to you, then we will stand still in our place, and not go vp to them. 10 But if they say, Come vp to Versus, then we will go vp, for the Lord hath delivered them into our hand, and this shall be a signum to Versus 11 So they both shewed themselves to the garrison of the Philistines, and the Philistines said, See, the Hebrews come out of the holes wherein they had hid themselves. 12 And the men of the garrison answered Ionathan, and his armor-bearer, and said, Come vp to Versus, for we will shew you a thing. Then Ionathan said to his armor-bearer, Come vp after me, for the Lord hath delivered them into the hand of Israel. 13 So Ionathan went vp upon his hands and upon his feet, and his armor-bearer after him, and some fell before Ionathan, and his armor-bearer slew others after him. 14 So the first slaughter which Ionathan and his armor-bearer made, was about 20 men, as it were within half an acre of land which 2 oxen plough. 15 And there was a fear in the host, and in the field, and among all the people, the garrison also, and they that went out to spoil, were afraid themselves, and the earth trembled, for it was stricken with fear by God. 16 Then the watchmen of Saul and Gibeah of Benjamin saw, and behold, the multitude was discomfited, and smitten as they went. 17 Therefore said Saul to the people that were with him, Search now and see, who is gone from Versus. And when they had known bread, behold, Ionathan and his armor-bearer were not there. 18 And Saul said to Ahiah, Bring hither the ark of God, for the ark of God was at that time with the children of Israel. 19 And while Saul talked to the priest, the noise that was in the host of the Philistines spread farther abroad, and increased, therefore Saul said to the priest, Withdraw thine hand. 20 And Saul was assembled with all the people that were with him, and they came to the battle, and behold, Uri man's sword was against his fellow, and there was a very great discomfiture. 21 Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines beforetime, and were come with them into all parties of the host, and they also turned to be with the Israelites that were with Saul and Ionathan. 22 Also all the men of Israel which had hid themselves in Mount Ephraim, when they heard that the Philistines were fled, they followed after them in the battle. 23 And so the Lord sought Israel that day, and the battle continued to Bethon. 24 And at that time the men of Israel were pressed with hunger, for Saul charged the people with an oath, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth food till night, that I may be owned of mine enemies. So none of the people tasted any sustenance. 25 And all they of the land came to a wood, where honey lay upon the ground. 26 And the people came into the wood, and behold, the honey dropped, and no man put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. 27 But Ionathan heard not when his father charged the people with the oath, wherefore he put forth the end of the rod that was in his hand, and dipped it in an honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes received sight. 28 Then answered one of the people, and said, Thy father made the people to swear, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth sustenance this day, and the people were faint. 29 Then said Ionathan, My father hath troubled the land, see now how mine eyes are made clear, because I ha tasted a little of this honey. 30 How much more, if the people had eaten today of the spoil of their enemies which they found? For had there not been now a greater slaughter among the Philistines? 31 And they smote the Philistines that day, from Michmash to Aijalon, and the people were exceeding faint. 32 So the people turned to the spoil, and took sheep, and oxen, and cows, and slew them on the ground, and the people did eat them with the blood. 33 Then men told Saul, saying, Behold, the people sin against the Lord, in that they eat with the blood. And he said, Ye ha trespassed, rule a great stone to me this day. 34 Again Saul said, Go abroad among the people, and bid them bring me Uri man his ox, and Uri man his sheep, and slay them here, and eat and sin not against the Lord in eating with the blood. And ye people brought Uri man his ox in his hand that night, and slew them there. 35 Then Saul made an altar to the Lord, and that was the first altar that he made to the Lord. 36 And Saul said, Let Versus go down after the Philistines by night, and spoil them till the morning shine, and let versus not lo a man of them. And they said, Do whatsoever thou thinkest best. Then said the priest, Let versus draw near hither to God. 37 So Saul asked of God, saying, Shall I go down after ye Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into the hands of Israel? But he answered him not at that time. 38 And Saul said, All ye chief of the people, come ye hither, and know, and see by whom this sin is done this day. 39 For as the Lord liveth, which saweth Israel, though it be done by Ionathan my son, he shall die the death. But none of all the people answered him. 40 Then he said to all Israel, Be ye on one side, and I and Ionathan my son will be on the other side. And the people said to Saul, Do what thou thinkest best. 41 Then Saul said to the Lord God of Israel, Do a perfect lot. And Ionathan and Saul were taken, but the people escaped. 42 And Saul said, Cast lot between me and Ionathan my son. And Ionathan was taken. 43 Then Saul said to Ionathan, Tell me what thou hast done. And Ionathan told him, and said, I tasted a little honey with the end of the rod, that was in mine hand, and lo, I must die. 44 Again Saul answered, God do so and more also, unless thou die the death, Ionathan. 45 And the people said unto Saul, Shall Ionathan die, who hath so mightily delivered Israel? God forbid. As the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of his head fall to the ground, for he hath wrought with God this day. So the people delivered Ionathan that he died not. 46 Then Saul came VP from the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own place. 47 So Saul held the kingdom o'er Israel, and fought against all his enemies on Uri's side, against Moab, and against the children of Ammon, and against Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines, and whithersoever he went, he handled them as wicked men. 48 He gathered also an host and smote Amalek, and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them. 49 Now the sons of Saul were Ionathan, and Ishui, and Malchishua, and the names of his 2 daughters, the elder was called Merab, and the younger was named Michal. 50 And the name of Saul's wife was Ahinoam the daughter of Ahimaaz, and the name of his chief captain was Abner the son of Ner, Saul's vankel. 51 And Kish was Saul's father, and Ner the father of Abner was the son of Abiel. 52 And there was sore war against the Philistines all the days of Saul, and whomsoever Saul saw to be a strong man, and meet for the war, he took him to him. Chapter 15 1 Afterward Samuel said unto Saul, The Lord sent me to anoint thee king o'er his people, o'er Israel, now therefore obey the voice of the words of the Lord. 2 Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember what Amalek did to Israel, how they laid wait for thee in ye way, as they came VP from Egypt. 3 Now therefore go, and smite Amalek, and destroy ye all that pertaineth to them, and ha no compassion on them, but slay both man and woman, both infant and suckling, both ox, and sheep, both camel, and assy. 4 And Saul assembled ye people, and Noam bred them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen, and 10,000 men of Judah. 5 And Saul came to a city of Amalek, and set watch at the Reur. 6 And Saul said unto the Kenite, Go, depart, and get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them, for ye shewed mercy to all the children of Israel, when they came VP from Egypt, and the Kenite departed from among the Amalekites. 7 So Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah as thou comest to Shur, that is before Egypt. 8 And took Agag the king of the Amalekites Elihu, and destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. 9 But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the better sheep, and the oxen, and the fat beasts, and the lambs, and all that was good, and they would not destroy them, but every thing that was vile and not worth, that they destroyed. 10 Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, 11 It repenteth me that I ha made Saul king, for he is turned from me, and hath not performed my commandments. And Samuel was mud, and cried to the Lord all night. 12 And when Samuel arose early to meet Saul in the morning, one told us Samuel, saying, Saul is gone to Carmel, and behold, he hath made him there a place, from whence he returned, and departed, and is gone down to Gilgal. 13 Then Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed be thou of the Lord, I ha fulfilled the commandment of the Lord. 14 But Samuel said, What meaneth then the bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? 15 And Saul answered, They ha brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep, and of the oxen to sacrifice them to the Lord thy God, and the remnant ha we destroyed. 16 Again Samuel said to Saul, Let me tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this night. And he said to him, Say on. 17 Then Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? For the Lord anointed thee king o'er Israel. 18 And the Lord sent thee on a irony, and said, Go, and destroy those sinners the Amalekites, and fight against them, till thou destroy them. 19 Now wherefore hast thou not obeyed the voice of the Lord, but hast turned to the prey, and hast done wickedly in the sight of the Lord? 20 And Saul said to Samuel, Yea, I ha obeyed the voice of the Lord, and ha gone the way which the Lord sent me, and ha brought Agag the king of Amalek, and ha destroyed the Amalekites. 21 But the people took of the spoil, sheep, and oxen, and the chiefest of the things which shewed ha been destroyed, to offer to the Lord thy God in Gilgal. 22 And Samuel said, Hath the Lord as great pleasure in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as when the voice of the Lord is obeyed? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken is better than the fat of rams. 23 For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and transgression is wickedness and idolatry. Because thou hast cast away the word of the Lord, therefore he hath cast away thee from being king. 24 Then Saul said to Samuel, I ha sinned, for I ha transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and thy words, because I feared the people, and obeyed their voice. 25 Now therefore I pray thee, take away my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord. 26 But Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast cast away the word of the Lord, and the Lord hath cast away thee, that thou shalt not be king o'er Israel. 27 And as Samuel turned himself to go away, he caught the lap of his coat, and it rent. 28 Then Samuel said to him, The Lord hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to thy neighbor, that is better than thou. 29 For indeed the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent. 30 Then he said, I ha sinned, but honor me, I pray thee, before the elders of my people, and before Israel, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord thy God. 31 So Samuel turned again, and followed Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. 32 Then said Samuel, Bring ye hither to me Agag ye king of the Amalekites. And Agag came to him pleasantly, and Agag said, Truly the bitterness of death is past. 33 And Samuel said, As thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among other women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. 34 So Samuel departed to Ramah, and Saul went vp to his house to Gibeah of Saul. 35 And Samuel came no more to see Saul till the day of his death, but Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord repented that he made Saul king o'er Israel. Chapter 16 1 The Lord then said to Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I ha cast him away from reigning o'er Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and come, I will send thee to Ishai the Bethlehemite, for I ha prouded me a king among his sons. 2 And Samuel said, How can I go? For if Saul shall hear it, he will kill me. Then the Lord answered, Take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to do sacrifice to the Lord. 3 And call Ishai to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do, and thou shalt anoint to me him whom I named to thee. For so Samuel did that the Lord bade him, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town were astonished at his coming, and said, Comest thou peaceably? 5 And he answered, Yea, I am come to do sacrifice to the Lord, sanctify your selus, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Ishai and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. 6 And when they were come, he looked on Eliab, and said, Surely the Lord's anointed is before him. 7 But the Lord said to Samuel, Look not on his countenance, nor on the height of his stature, because I ha refused him, for God seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord beholdeth the heart. 8 Then Ishai called Abinadab, and made him come before Samuel. And he said, Neither hath the Lord chosen this. 9 Then Ishai made Shammah come. And he said, Neither yet hath the Lord chosen him. 10 Again Ishai made his sons to come before Samuel, and Samuel said to Ishai, The Lord hath chosen none of these. 11 Finally, Samuel said to Ishai, Are there no more children but these? And he said, There remaineth yet a little one behind, that keepeth the sheep. Then Samuel said to Ishai, Send and set him, for we will not sit down, till he be come hither. 12 And he sent, and brought him in, and he was ruddy, and of a good countenance, and comely visage. And the Lord said, Arise, and anoint him, for this is he. 13 Then Samuel took the horn of oil, and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon Doeg, from that day forward. Then Samuel rose vp, and went to Ramah. 14 But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an ill spirit sent of the Lord vexed him. 15 And Saul's servants said to him, Behold now, the ill spirit of God vexeth thee. 16 Let our Lord therefore command thy servants, that are before thee, to seek a man that is a cunning player upon the harp, that when the ill spirit of God cometh upon thee, he may play with his hand, and thou mayest be eased. 17 Saul then said to his servants, Provide me a man, I pray you, that can play well, and bring him to me. 18 Then answered one of his servants, and said, Behold, I ha seen a son of Ishai, a Bethlehemite, that can play, and is strong, valiant and a man of war and wise in matters, and a comely person, and the Lord is with him. 19 Wherefore Saul sent messengers to Ishai, and said, Send me Doeg thy son which is with the sheep. 20 And Ishai took an ass laden with bread and a flagon of wine and a kiddah, and sent them by the hand of Doeg his son to Saul. 21 And Doeg came to Saul, and stood before him, and he lewed him very well, and he was his armor-bearer. 22 And Saul sent to Ishai, saying, Let Doeg now remain with me, for he hath found favour in my sight. 23 And so when the ill spirit of God came upon Saul, Doeg took an harp and played with his hand, and Saul was refreshed, and was eased, for the ill spirit departed from him. Chapter 17. 1 Now the Philistines gathered their armies to Bethel, and came together to Shochoh, which is in Judah, and pitched between Shochoh and Azekah, in the coast of Damim. 2 And Saul, and the men of Israel assembled, and pitched in the valley of Elah, and put themselves in battle array to meet the Philistines. 3 And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, so a valley was between them. For then came a man between them both out of the tents of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath. His height was 6 cubits and an hand breadth, 5 AUD had an helmet of brass upon his head, and a brigandine upon him, and the weight of his brigandine was few thousand shekels of brass. 6 And he had bowodes of brass upon his legs, and a shield of brass upon his shoulders. 7 And the shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. 8 And he stood, and cried against the host of Israel, and said to them, Why are ye come to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and you servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. 9 If he be able to fight with me, and kill me, then will we be your servants, but if I overcome him, and kill him, then shall ye be our servants. And Saru verses 10 Also the Philistines said, I defy the host of Israel this day, give me a man, that we may fight together. 11 When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were discouraged, and greatly afraid. 12 Now this Doeg was the son of an Ephrathite of Bethlehem Judah, named Ishai, which had 8 sons, and this man was taken for an old man in the days of Saul. 13 And the 3 eldest sons of Ishai went and followed Saul to the Bethel, and the names of his 3 sons that went to Bethel were Eliab the eldest, and the next Abinadab, and the third Shammah. 14 So Doeg was the least, and the 3 eldest went after Saul. 15 Doeg also went, but he returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep in Bethlehem. 16 And the Philistine drew near in the morning, and evening, and continued 40 days. 17 And Ishai said to Doeg his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 cakes, and run to the host to thy brethren. 18 Also carry these 10 fresh cheeses to the captain, and look how thy brethren fare, and receive their pledge. 19 Then Saul and they, and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. 20 So Daud rose early in the morning, and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Ishai had commanded him, and came within the compasse of the host, and the host went out in array, and shouted in the battle. 21 For Israel and the Philistines had put themselves in array, army against army. 22 And Daud left the things, which he bare, under the hands of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the host, and came, and asked his brethren how they did. 23 And as he talked with them, behold, the man that was between the two armies, came whose name was Goliath ye Philistim of Gath, out of the army of the Philistines, and spake such words, and Daud heard them. 24 And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, ran away from him, and were sore afraid. 25 For Uri man of Israel said, Saw ye not this man that cometh you unto while Israel is he come and to him that killeth him, will the king jew great riches, and will jew him his daughter, yea, and make his father's house free in Israel. 26 Then Daud spake to the men that stood with him, and said, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistim, and taketh away the shame from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistim, that he should rewile the host of the living God? 27 And the people answered him after this manner, saying, Thus shall it be done to the man that killeth him. 28 And Eliab his eldest brother heard when he spake to the men, and Eliab was very angry with Daud, and said, Why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the malice of thine heart, that thou art come down to see the battle. 29 Then Daud said, What ha I now done? Is there not a cause? 30 And he departed from him into the presence of another, and spake of the same manner, and the people answered him according to the former words. 31 And they that heard the words which Daud spake, rehearsed them before Saul, which caused him to be brought. 32 So Daud said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail him, because of him, thy servant will go, and fight with this Philistim. 33 And Saul said to Daud, Thou art not able to go against this Philistim to fight with him, for thou art a boy, and he is a man of war from his youth. 34 And Daud answered to Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion, and likewise a bear, and took a sheep out of the flock. 35 And I went out after him and smote him, and took it out of his mouth, and when he arose against me, I caught him by the beard, and smote him, and slew him. 36 So thy servant slew both the lion, and the bear, therefore this uncircumcised Philistim shall be as one of them, seeing he hath railed on the host of the living God. 37 Moreover Daud said, The Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistim. Then Saul said unto Daud, Go, and the Lord be with thee. 38 And Saul put his raiment upon Daud, and put an helmet of brass upon his head, and put a brigandine upon him. 39 Then girded Daud his sword upon his raiment, and began to go, for he never prode it, and Daud said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I am not accustomed. Wherefore Daud put them off him. 40 Then took he his staff in his hand, and chose him few smooth stones out of a brook, and put them in his shepherd's bag or scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistim. 41 And the Philistim came and drew near to Daud, and the man that bare the shield went before him. 42 Now when the Philistim looked about and saw Daud, he disdained him, for he was but young, ruddy, and of a comely face. 43 And the Philistim said unto Daud, Am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistim cursed Daud by his gods. 44 And the Philistim said to Daud, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh to the foals of the hoen, and to the beasts of the field. 45 Then said Daud to the Philistim, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the host of Israel, whom thou hast railed upon. 46 This day shall the Lord close thee in mine hand, and I shall smite thee, and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day to the foals of the hoen, and to the beasts of the earth, that all the world may know that Israel hath a God. 47 And that all this assembly may know, that the Lord saith not with sword nor with spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will jew you into our hands. 48 And when the Philistim arose to come and draw near to Daud, Daud hasted and ran to fight against the Philistim. 49 And Doeg put his hand in his bag, and took out a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sticked in his forehead, and he fell growling to the earth. 50 So Doeg overcame the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him, when Doeg had no sword in his hand. 51 Then Doeg ran, and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword and drew it out of his sheath, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. So when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. 52 And the men of Israel and Judah arose, and shouted, and followed after the Philistines, until they came to the valley, and to the gates of Ekron, and the Philistines fell down wounded by the way of Shaaraim, even to Gath and to Ekron. 53 And the children of Israel returned from pursuing the Philistines, and spoiled their tents. 54 And Doeg took the head of ye Philistine, and brought it to Jerusalem, and put his armor in his tent. 55 When Saul saw Doeg go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner the captain of his host, Abner, whose son is this young man? And Abner answered, As thy soul lueth, O king, I cannot tell. 56 Then the king said, Inquire thou whose son this young man is. 57 And when Doeg was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, then Abner took him, and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. 58 And Saul said to him, Whose son art thou, thou young man? And Doeg answered, I am the son of thy servant Ishai the Bethlehemite. Chapter 18. 1 And when he had made an end of speaking to Saul, the soul of Ionathan was knit with the soul of Doeg, and Ionathan lewd him as his own soul. 2 And Saul took him that day, and would not let him return to his father's house. 3 Then Ionathan and Doeg made a covenant, for he lewd him as his own soul. 4 And Ionathan put off the robe that was upon him, and gave it Doeg, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. 5 And Doeg went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaught himself wisely, so that Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. 6 When they came again, and Doeg returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, the women came out of all cities of Israel singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with timbrels, with instruments of ioe, and with rebecks. 7 And the women sang by course in their play, and said, Saul hath slain his 1,000, and Doeg his 10,000. 8 Therefore Saul was exceeding wroth, and the saying displeased him, and he said, They ha ascribed to Doeg 10,000, and to me they ha ascribed but 1,000, and what can he ha more saw the kingdom? 9 Wherefore Saul had an eye on Doeg from that day forward. 10 And on the morrow, the ill spirit of God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house, and Doeg played with his hand like as at other times, and there was a spear in Saul's hand. 11 And Saul took the spear, and said, I will smite Doeg through to the wall. But Doeg ided twice out of his presence. 12 And Saul was afraid of Doeg, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul. 13 Therefore Saul put him from him, and made him a captain over 1,000, and he went out and in before the people. 14 And Doeg behaught himself wisely in all his ways, for the Lord was with him. 15 Wherefore when Saul saw that he was very wise, he was afraid of him. 16 For all Israel and Judah lewd Doeg, because he went out and in before them. 17 Then Saul said to Doeg, Behold mine eldest daughter Merab, her I will give thee to wife, only be a valiant son to me, and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul thought, Mine hand shall not be upon him, but the hand of the Philistines shall be upon him. 18 And Doeg answered Saul, What am I? And what is my life, or the family of my father in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king? 19 Howbeit when Merab Saul's daughter should ha been a Jewin to Doeg, she was Jewin to Adriel a Meholathite to wife. 20 Then Michal Saul's daughter lewd Doeg, and they shewed Saul, and the thing pleased him. 21 Therefore Saul said, I will jew him her, that she may be a snare to him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to Doeg, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain. 22 And Saul commanded his servants, Speak with Doeg secretly, and say, Behold, ye king hath a follower to thee, and all his servants lo thee, be now therefore the king's son-in-law. 23 And Saul's servants spake these words in the ears of Doeg. And Doeg said, Seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and of small reputation? 24 And then Saul's Saruats brought him word again, saying, Such words spake Doeg. 25 And Saul said, This wise shall ye say to Doeg, The king desireth no dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to be owned of the king's enemies, for Saul thought to make Doeg fall into the hands of the Philistines. 26 And when his Saruantes told Doeg these words, it pleased Doeg well, to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. 27 Afterward Doeg arose with his men, and went and slew of the Philistines 200 men, and Doeg brought their foreskins, and they gave them wholly to the king that he might be the king's son-in-law, therefore Saul gave him Michal his daughter to wife. 28 Then Saul saw, and understood that the Lord was with Doeg, and that Michal the daughter of Saul lewd him. 29 Then Saul was more and more afraid of Doeg, and Saul became alway Doeg's enemy. 30 And when the princes of the Philistines went forth, at their going forth Doeg behaught himself more wisely than all the Saruants of Saul, so that his name was much set by. Chapter 19 1 Then Saul spake to Ionathan his son, and to all his Saruantes, that they should kill Doeg, but Ionathan Saul's son had a great favor to Doeg. 2 And Ionathan told Doeg, saying, Saul my father goeth about to slay thee, now therefore, I pray thee, take heed to thyself to the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide thyself. 3 And I will go out, and stand by my father in the field where thou art, and will commune with my father of thee, and I will see what he saith, and will tell thee. 4 And Ionathan spake good of Doeg to Saul his father, and said to him, Let not the king sin against his Saruat, against Doeg, for he hath not sinned against thee, but his works ha been to thee very good. 5 For he did put his life in danger, and slew the Philistine, and the Lord wrought a great salvation for all Israel, thou sawest it, and thou rejoicedst, wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood, and slay Doeg without a cause? 6 Then Saul hearkened to the voice of Ionathan, and Saul sware, As the Lord liveth, he shall not die. 7 So Ionathan called Doeg, and Ionathan shewed him all those words, and Ionathan brought Doeg to Saul, and he was in his presence as in times past. 8 Again the war began, and Doeg went out and fought with the Philistines, and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. 9 And the ill spirit of the Lord was upon Saul, as he sate in his house howing his spear in his hand, and Doeg played with his hand. 10 And Saul intended to smite Doeg to the wall with the spear, but he turned aside out of Saul's presence, and he smote the spear against the wall, but Doeg fled, and escaped the same night. 11 Saul also sent messengers to Doeg's house, to watch him, and to slay him in the morning, and Michal Doeg's wife told it him, saying, If thou saw not thyself this night, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. 12 So Michal let Doeg down through a window, and he went, and fled, and escaped. 13 Then Michal took an image, and laid it in the bed, and put a pillow stuffed with goat's hair under the head of it, and covered it with a cloth. 14 And when Saul sent messengers to take Doeg, she said, He is sick. 15 And Saul sent the messengers again to see Doeg, saying, Bring him to me in the bed, that I may slay him. 16 And when the messengers were come in, behold, an image was in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair under the head of it. 17 And Saul said to Michal, Why hast thou mocked me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he is escaped? And Michal answered Saul, He said to me, Let me go, or else I will kill thee. 18 So Doeg fled, and escaped, and came to Samuel to Ramah, and told him all that Saul had done to him, and he and Samuel went and dwelt in Naioth. 19 But one told Saul, saying, Behold, Doeg is at Naioth in Ramah. 20 And Saul sent messengers to take Doeg, and when they saw a company of prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as appointed over them, the Spirit of God fell upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied. 21 And when it was told Saul, he sent other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. Again Saul sent the third messengers, and they prophesied also. 22 Then went he himself to Ramah, and came to a great well that is in Sechu, and he asked, and said, Where are Samuel and Doeg? And one said, Behold, they be at Naioth in Ramah. 23 And he went thither, to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God came upon him also, and he went prophesying till he came to Naioth in Ramah. 24 And he stripped off his clothes, and he prophesied also before Samuel, and fell down naked all that day and all that night. Therefore they say, Is Saul also among the prophets? Chapter 20. 1 And Doeg fled from Naioth in Ramah, and came and said before Ionathan, What ha I done? What is mine iniquity? And what sin ha I committed before thy father, that he seeketh my life? 2 And he said to him, God forbid, thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing great nor small, but he will shew it me, and why should my father hide this thing from me? He will not do it. 3 And Doeg sware again and said, Thy father knoweth that I ha found grace in thine eyes, therefore he thinketh, Ionathan shall not know it, lest he be sorry, but indeed, as the Lord lueth, and as thy soul lueth, there is but a step between me and death. For then said Ionathan to Doeg, Whatsoever thy soul requireth, that I will do to thee. 5 And Doeg said to Ionathan, Behold, tomorrow is the first day of the month, and I should sit with the king at meat, but let me go, that I may hide myself in the fields to the third day at Ewan. 6 If thy father make mention of me, then say, Doeg asked lo of me, that he might go to Bethlehem to his own city, for there is a yearly sacrifice for all that family. 7 And if he say thus, It is well, thy servant shall ha peace, but if he be angry, be sure that wickedness is concluded of him. 8 So shalt thou shew mercy to thy servant, for thou hast ironed thy servant into a covenant of the Lord with thee, and if there be in me iniquity, slay thou me, for why shouldest thou bring me to thy father? 9 And Ionathan answered, God keep that from thee, for if I knew that wickedness were concluded of my father to come upon thee, would not I tell it thee? 10 Then said Doeg to Ionathan, Who shall tell me? How shall I know, if thy father answer thee cruelly? 11 And Ionathan said to Doeg, Come and let Versus go out into the fielda, and they twain went out into the fielda. 12 Then Ionathan said to Doeg, O Lord God of Israel, when I ha groped my father's men tomorrow at this time, or within this 3 days, and if it be well with Doeg, and I then send not to thee, and shew it thee, 13 The Lord do so and much more to Ionathan, but if my father ha min to do thee ill, I will shew thee also, and send thee away, that thou mayest go in peace, and the Lord be with thee as he hath been with my father. 14 Likewise I require not whiles I live, for I doubt not but thou wilt shew me the mercy of the Lord, that I die not. 15 But I require that thou cut not off thy mercy from mine house for Ur, no, not when the Lord hath destroyed the enemies of Doeg, Uri one from the earth. 16 So Ionathan made a bond with the house of Doeg, saying, Let the Lord require it at the hands of Doeg's enemies. 17 And again Ionathan sware to Doeg, because he lewed him, for he lewed him as his own soul. 18 Then said Ionathan to him, Tomorrow is the first day of the month, and thou shalt be looked for thy place shall be empty. 19 Therefore thou shalt hide thyself 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself, when this matter was in hand, and shalt remain by the stone Ezel. 20 And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. 21 And after I will send a boy, saying, Go, seek the arrows. If I say to the boy, See, the arrows are on this side thee, bring them, and come thou, for it is well with thee and no hurt, as the Lord lueth. 22 But if I say thus to the boy, Behold, the arrows are beyond thee, go thy way, for the Lord hath sent thee away. 23 Is touching the thing which thou and I ha spoken of, behold, the Lord be between thee and me for Ur. 24 So Doeg hid himself in the field, and when the first day of the month came, the king sate to eat meat. 25 And the king sate, as at other times pon his seat, Ewan pon his seat by the wall, and Ionathan arose, and Abner sate by Saul's side, but Doeg's place was empty. 26 And Saul said nothing that day, for he thought, Something hath befallen him, though he were clean, or else because he was not purified. 27 But on the morrow which was the second day of the month, Doeg's place was empty again, and Saul said to Ionathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Ishai to meat, neither yesterday nor today? 28 And Ionathan answered to Saul, Doeg required of me, that he might go to Bethlehem. 29 For he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our family offereth a sacrifice in the city, and my brother hath sent for me, therefore now if I ha found favour in thine eyes, let me go, I pray thee, and see my brethren, this is the cause that he cometh not to the king's table. 30 Then was Saul angry with Ionathan, and said unto him, Thou son of the wicked rebellious woman, do not I know, that thou hast chosen the son of Ishai to thy confusion, and to the confusion and shame of thy mother? 31 For as long as the son of Ishai liveth upon the earth, thou shalt not be stablished, nor thy kingdom, wherefore now send and fetch him to me, for he shall surely die. 32 And Ionathan answered unto Saul his father, and said unto him, Wherefore shall he die? What hath he done? 33 And Saul cast a spear at him to hit him, whereby Ionathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay Doeg. 34 So Ionathan arose from the table in a great anger, and did eat no meat the 2nd day of the month. For he was sorry for Doeg, and because his father had reviled him. 35 On the next morning therefore Ionathan then went out into the field at the time appointed with Doeg, and a little boy with him. 36 And he said to his boy, Run now, seek the arrows which I shot, and as the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. 37 And when the boy was come to the place where the arrow was that Ionathan had shot, Ionathan cried after the boy, and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? 38 And Ionathan cried after the boy, Make speed, haste, and stand not still. And Ionathan's boy gathered the arrows, and came to his master. 39 But the boy knew nothing, only Ionathan and Doeg knew the matter. 40 Then Ionathan gave his bow and arrows unto the boy that was with him, and said unto him, Go, carry them into the city. 41 As soon as the boy was gone, Doeg arose out of a place that was toward the south, and fell on his face to the ground, and bowed himself 3 times, and they kissed one another, and wept both twain, till Doeg exceeded. 42 Therefore Ionathan said to Doeg, Go in peace, that which we ha sworn both of verses in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord be between me and thee, and between my seed and between thy seed, let it stand for ewer. 1 Samuel, and he arose and departed, and Ionathan went into the city. Chapter 21 1 Then came Doeg to Nob, to Ahimelech the priest, and Ahimelech was astonished at the meeting of Doeg, and said to him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee? 2 And Doeg said to Ahimelech the priest, The king hath commanded me a certain thing, and hath said unto me, Let no man know whereabout I send thee, and what I ha commanded thee, and I ha appointed my servants to such and such places. 3 Now therefore if thou hast aught vender thine hand, give me few cakes of bread, or what cometh to hand. 4 And the priest answered Doeg, and said, There is no common bread vender mine hand, but here is hallowed bread, if the young men ha kept themselves, at least from women. 5 Doeg then answered the priest, and said to him, Certainly women ha been a separate from verses these 2 or 3 days since I came out, and the vessels of the young men were holy, though the way were profane, and how much more then shall every one be sanctified this day in the vessel? 6 So the priest gave him hallowed bread, for there was no bread there, saw the shew bread that was taken from before the Lord, to put out bread there, the day that it was taken away. 7 And there was the same day one of the servants of Saul abiding before the Lord, named Doeg the Edomite, the chiefest of Saul's herdmen. 8 And Doeg said unto Ahimelech, Is there not here vender thine hand a spear or a sword? For I ha neither brought my sword nor mine harness with me, because the king's business required haste. 9 And the priest said, The sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom thou slewest in the valley of Elah, behold, it is wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If thou wilt take that to thee, take it, for there is none other saw that here. And Doeg said, There is none to that, jew it me. 10 And Doeg arose and fled the same day from the presence of Saul, and went to Achish the king of Gath. 11 And the servants of Achish said unto him, Is not this Doeg the king of the land? Did they not sing to him in dances, saying, Saul hath slain his 1,000, and Doeg his 10,000? 12 And Doeg considered these words, and was sore afraid of Achish the king of Gath. 13 And he changed his behour before them, and feigned himself mad in their hands, and scrabbled on the doors of the gate, and let his spettle fall down upon his beard. 14 Then said Achish to his servants, Lo, ye see the man is beside himself, wherefore ha ye brought him to me? 15 Ha I need of madmen, that ye ha brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall he come into mine house? Chapter 22 1 Doeg therefore departed thence, and sowed himself in the cave of Adullam, and when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. 2 And there gathered to him all men that were in trouble and all men that were in debt, and all those that were vexed and mind, and he was their prince, and there were with him about 400 men. 3 And Doeg went thence to Mizpeh in Moab, and said unto the king of Moab, I pray thee, let my father and my mother come and abide with you, till I know what God will do for me. 4 And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that Doeg was in the hold. 5 And the prophet Gad said unto Doeg, Abide not in the hold, but depart and go into the land of Judah. Then Doeg departed and came into the forest of Hereth. 6 And Saul heard that Doeg was discoured, and the men that were with him, and Saul remained in Gibeah under a tree in Ramah, howling his spear in his hand, and all his servants stood about him. 7 And Saul said to his servants that stood about him, Hear now, ye sons of Iamani, will the son of Ishai give you one of you fields and vineyards? Will he make you all captains o you ear thousands, and captains o you ear hundredths? 8 That all ye ha conspired against me, and there is none that teller me that my son hath made acquainted with the son of Ishai? And there is none of you that is sorry for me, or sheweth me, that my son hath stirred vp my servant to lie in wait against me, as appeareth this day? 9 Then answered Doeg the Edomite, who was appointed o you ear the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Ishai when he came to Nob, to Ahimelech the son of Ahitub. 10 Who asked counsel of the Lord for him and gave him victuals, and he gave him also the sword of Goliath the Philistine. 11 Then the king sent to call Ahimelech the priest the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, to wit, the priests that were in Nob, and they came all to the king. 12 And Saul said, Hear now thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my lord. 13 Then Saul said to him, Why ha ye conspired against me, thou and the son of Ishai, in that thou hast jewen him victual, and a sword, and hast asked counsel of God for him, that he should rise against me, and lie in wait as appeareth this day? 14 And Ahimelech answered the king, and said, Who is so faithful among all thy servants as Doeg, being also the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy commandment, and is honorable in thine house? 15 Ha I this day first begun to ask counsel of God for him? Be it far from me, let not the king impute anything to his servant, nor to all the house of my father, for thy servant knew nothing of all this, less nor more. 16 Then the king said, Thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou, and all thy father's house. 17 And the king said to the sergeants that stood about him, Turn, and slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand also is with Doeg, and because they knew when he fled, and shoot it not to me. But the Saruantes of the king would not move their hands to fall upon the priests of the Lord. 18 Then the king said to Doeg, Turn thou and fall upon the priests. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and ran upon the priests, and slew that same day 80 and few persons that did wear a linen ephod. 19 Also Nob the city of the priests smote he with the edge of the sword, both man and woman, both child and suckling, both ox and assy, and sheep with the edge of the sword. 20 But one of the sons of Ahimelech the son of Ahitub, whose name was Abiathar, escaped and fled after Doeg. 21 And Abiathar shewed Doeg, that Saul had slain the Lord's priests. 22 And Doeg said to Abiathar, I knew it the same day, when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would tell Saul. I am the cause of the death of all the persons of thy father's house. 23 Abide thou with me, and fear not, for he that seeketh my life, shall seek thy life also, for with me thou shalt be in safeguard. Chapter 23 1 Then they told Doeg, saying, Behold, the Philistines fight against Keilah, and spoil the barns. 2 Therefore Doeg asked counsel of the Lord, saying, Shall I go and smite these Philistines? And the Lord answered Doeg, Go and smite the Philistines, and saw Keilah. 3 And Doeg's men said to him, See, we be afraid here in Judah, how much more if we come to Keilah against the host of ye Philistines? For then Doeg asked counsel of the Lord again. And the Lord answered him, and said, Arise, go down to Keilah, for I will deliver the Philistines into thine hand. 5 So Doeg and his men went to Keilah, and fought with the Philistines, and brought away their cattle, and smote them with a great slaughter. Thus Doeg sought the inhabitants of Keilah. 6 And when Abiathar the son of Ahimelech fled to Doeg to Keilah, he brought an ephod with him. 7 And it was told of Saul that Doeg was come to Keilah, and Saul said, God hath delivered him into mine hand, for he is shut in, seeing he is come into a city that hath gates and bars. 8 Then Saul called all the people together to war, for to go down to Keilah, and to besiege Doeg and his men. 9 And Doeg, having knowledge that Saul imagined mischief against him, said to Abiathar the priest, Bring the ephod. 10 Then said Doeg, O Lord God of Israel, thy servant hath heard, that Saul is about to come to Keilah to destroy the city for my sake. 11 Will the lords of Keilah deliver me VP into his hand? And will Saul come down, as thy servant hath heard? O Lord God of Israel, I beseech thee, tell thy servant. And the Lord said, He will come down. 12 Then said Doeg, Will the lords of Keilah deliver me VP, and the men that are with me, into the hand of Saul? And the Lord said, They will deliver thee VP. 13 Then Doeg and his men, which were about 600, arose, and departed out of Keilah, and went whither they could. And it was told of Saul, that Doeg was fled from Keilah, and he left off his irony. 14 And Doeg abode in the wilderness in Holds, and remained in a mountain in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but God delivered him not into his hand. 15 And Doeg saw that Saul was come out for to seek his life, and Doeg was in the wilderness of Ziph in the wood. 16 And Ionah then Saul's son arose and went to Doeg into the wood, and comforted him in God. 17 And said to him, Fear not, for the hand of Saul my father shall not find thee, and thou shalt be king o'er Israel, and I shall be next to thee, and also Saul my father knoweth it. 18 So they twain made a covenant before ye Lord, and Doeg did remain in the wood, but Ionah then went to his house. 19 Then came VP the Ziphims to Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doeth not Doeg hide himself by Versus and Holds, in the wood in the hill of Hachilah, which is on the right side of Ieshimon? 20 Now therefore, O king, come down according to all that thine heart can desire, and our part shall be to deliver him into the king's hands. 21 Then Saul said, Be ye blessed of the Lord, for Yahweh had compassion on me. 22 Go, I pray you, and prepare ye yet better, know and see his place where he haunteth, and who hath seen him there, for it is said to me, He is subtle, and crafty. 23 See therefore and know all the secret places where he hideth himself, and come ye again to me with the certainty, and I will go with you, and if he be in the land, I will search him out throughout all the thousands of Judah. 24 Then they arose and went to Ziph before Saul, but Doeg and his men were in the wilderness of Maon, in the plain on the right hand of Ieshimon. 25 Saul also and his men went to seek him, and they told Doeg. Wherefore he came down to a rock, and abode in the wilderness of Maon. And when Saul heard that, he followed after Doeg in the wilderness of Maon. 26 And Saul and his men went on the one side of the mountain, and Doeg and his men on the other side of the mountain, and Doeg made haste to get from the presence of Saul, for Saul and his men compassed Doeg and his men round about, to take them. 27 But there came a messenger to Saul, saying, Haste thee, and come, for the Philistines ha inundated the land. 28 Wherefore Saul returned from pursuing Doeg, and went against the Philistines. Therefore they called that place, Selah Hameleketh. Chapter 24 1 And Doeg went thence, and dwelt in Holds at En-Gedi. 2 When Saul was turned from ye Philistines, they told him, saying, Behold, Doeg is in the wilderness of En-Gedi. 3 Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and went to seek Doeg and his men upon the rocks among the wild goats. 4 And he came to the sheepcotes by the way where there was a caw, and Saul went in to do his easement, and Doeg and his men sate in the inward parts of the caw. 5 And the men of Doeg said to him, See, the day is come, whereof the Lord said to thee, Behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thine hand, and thou shalt do to him as it shall seem me good to thee. Then Doeg arose and cut off the lap of Saul's garment privily. 6 And afterward Doeg was touched in his heart, because he had cut off the lap which was on Saul's garment. 7 And he said to his men, The Lord keep me from doing that thing to my master the Lord's anointed, to lay mine hand upon him, for he is the anointed of the Lord. 8 So Doeg overcame his servants with these words, and suffered them not to arise against Saul, so Saul rose VP out of the caw and went away. 9 Doeg also arose afterward, and went out of the caw, and cried after Saul, saying, O my lord the king. And when Saul looked behind him, Doeg inclined his face to the earth, and bowed himself. 7 Then said Saul to his servants, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her, and ask of her. And his servants said to him, Behold, there is a woman at Endor that hath a familiar spirit. 8 Then Saul changed himself, and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, conjecture to me by the familiar spyrite, and bring me him vp whom I shall name to thee. 9 And the woman said to him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath destroyed the sorcerers, and the soothsayers out of the land, wherefore then seekest thou to take me in a snare to cause me to die? 10 And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, no harm shall come to thee for this thing. 11 Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring vp to thee? And he answered, Bring me vp Samuel. 12 And when the woman saw a Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. 13 And the king said to her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said to Saul, I saw God's ascending vp out of the earth. 14 Then he said to her, What fashion is he of? And she answered, An old man cometh vp lapped in a mantle, and Saul knew that it was Samuel, and he inclined his face to the ground, and bowed himself. 15 And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me, to bring me vp? Then Saul answered, I am in great distress, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets, neither by dreams, therefore I ha called thee, that thou mayest tell me, what I shall do. 16 Then said Samuel, Wherefore then doest thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is gone from thee, and is thine enemy? 17 And the Lord hath done to him, as he spake by mine hand, for the Lord will rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and jew it thy neighbor Doeg. 18 Because thou obeyedst not the voice of the Lord, nor executedst his fierce wrath upon the Amalekites, therefore hath the Lord done this to thee this day. 19 Moreover the Lord will deliver Israel with thee into the hands of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me, and the Lord shall jew the host of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. 20 Then Saul fell straightway all along on the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel, so that there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day nor all the night. 21 Then the woman came to Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said to him, See, thine handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I ha put my soul in mine hand, and ha obeyed thy words which thou saidst to me. 22 Now therefore, I pray thee, hark thou also to ye voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, that thou mayest eat and get thee strength, and go on thy irony. 23 But he refused, and said, I will not eat, but his servants and the woman together compelled him, and he obeyed their voice, so he arose from the earth, and sat on the bed. 24 Now the woman had a fat calf in the house, and she hasted, and killed it, and took flour and kneaded it, and baked of it leavened bread. 25 Then she brought them before Saul, and before his servants, and when they had eaten, they stood, and went away the same night. Chapter 29 1 So the Philistines were gathered together with all their armies in Aphek, and the Israelites pitched by the fountain, which is in Israel. 2 And the princes of the Philistines went forth by hundreds and thousands, but Doeg and his men came behind with Achish. 3 Then said the princes of the Philistines, What do these Hebrews here? And Achish said to the princes of the Philistines, Is not this Doeg the servant of Saul the king of Israel, who hath been with me these days, or these years, and I ha found nothing in him, since he dwelt with me to this day? 4 But the princes of the Philistines were wroth with him, and the princes of the Philistines said to him, Send this fellow back, that he may go again to his place which thou hast appointed him, and let him not go down with Versus to Bethel, lest that in the Bethel he be an adversary to Versus, for wherewith should he obtain the favor of his master? Should it not be with the heats of these men? 5 Is not this Doeg, of whom they sang in dances, saying, Saul slew his 1,000, and Doeg his 10,000? 6 Then Achish called Doeg, and said to him, As the Lord liveth, thou hast been bright and good in my sight, when thou wentest out and in with me in the host, neither ha I found ill with thee, since thou camest to me to this day, but the princes do not favor thee. 7 Wherefore now return, and go in peace, that thou displease not the princes of the Philistines. 8 And Doeg said to Achish, But what ha I done? And what hast thou found in thy servant as long as I ha been with thee to this day, that I may not go and fight against the enemies of my lord the king? 9 Achish then answered, and said to Doeg, I know thou pleasest me, as an angel of God, But the princes of the Philistines said, let him not go vp with verses to Bethel. 10 Wherefore now rise vp early in the morning with thy master's servants that are come with thee, and when ye be vp early, as soon as ye ha light, depart. 11 So Daud and his men rose vp early to depart in the morning, and to return into the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went vp to Israel. Chapter 30. 1 BVT When Daud and his men were come to Ziklag the third day, the Amalekites had innuated upon the south, to Ziklag, and had smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire, 2 And had taken the women that were therein, prisoners, both small and great, and slew not a man, but carried them away, and went their ways. 3 So Daud and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burnt with fire, and their wives, and their sons, and their daughters were taken prisoners. For then Daud and the people that was with him lift vp their voices and wept, till they could weep no more. 5 Daud's 2 wives were taken prisoners also, Ahinoam the Israelite, and Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. 6 And Daud was in great sorrow, for the people intended to stone him, because the hearts of all the people were vexed Uri man for his sons and for his daughters, but Daud comforted himself in the Lord his God. 7 And Daud said to Abiathar the priest Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me the ephod. And Abiathar brought the ephod to Daud. 8 Then Daud asked counsel at the Lord, saying, Shall I follow after this company? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, Follow, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and recover all. 9 So Daud and the 600th men that were with him went, and came to the Reur Besor, where a part of them abode, 10 But Daud and 400th men followed, for 200th abode behind, being too weary to go over the Reur Besor. 11 And they found an Egyptian in the fieldah, and brought him to Daud, and gave him bread and he did eat, and they gave him water to drink. 12 Also they gave him a few figs, and 2 clusters of raisins, and when he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread, nor drunk any water in 3 days, and 3 nights. 13 And Daud said to him, To whom belongest thou? And whence art thou? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, and servant to an Amalekite, and my master left me 3 days ago, because I fell sick. 14 We roamed upon the south of Cherith, and upon the coast belonging to Judah, and upon the south of Caleb, and we burnt Ziklag with fire. 15 And Daud said to him, Canst thou bring me to this company? And he said, Swear to me by God, that thou wilt neither kill me, nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee to this company. 16 And when he had brought him thither, behold, they lay scattered abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking, and dancing, because of all the great prey that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines, and out of the land of Judah. 17 And Daud smote them from the twilight, even to the evening of the next morrow, so that there escaped not a man of them, saw 400 young men, which rode upon camels, and fled. 18 And Daud recovered all that the Amalekites had taken, also Daud rescued his 2 wives. 19 And they lacked nothing, small or great, son or daughter, or of the spoil of all that they had taken away, Daud recovered them all. 20 Daud also took all the sheep, and the oxen, and they drove them before his cattle, and said, This is Daud's prey. 21 And Daud came to the 200th men that were too weary for to follow Daud, whom they had made also to abide at the Reur Besor, and they came to meet Daud, and to meet the people that were with him, so when Daud came near to the people, he saluted them. 22 Then answered all the ill and wicked of the men that went with Daud, and said, Because they went not with verses, therefore will we give them none of the prey that we ha recovered, saw to Uri man his wife and his children, therefore let them carry them away and depart. 23 Then said Daud, Ye shall not do so, my brethren, with that which the Lord hath done versus, who hath preceded versus, and delivered the company that came against versus, into our hands. 24 For who will obey you in this matter? But as his part is that goeth down to the battle, so shall his part be, that tarrieth by the stuff, they shall part alike. 25 So from that day forward he made it a statute and a law in Israel, till this day. 26 When Daud therefore came to Ziklag, he sent of the prey to the elders of Judah and to his friends, saying, See there is a blessing for you of the spoil of the enemies of the Lord. 27 He sent to them of Bethel, and to them of South Ramoth, and to them of Iatir, 28 And to them of Aroer, and to them of Siphmoth, and to them of Eshtemoa, 29 And to them of Rachel, and to them of the cities of the Arameelites, and to them of the cities of the Kenite, 30 And to them of Hormah, and to them of Chorashan, and to them of Aphek, 31 And to them of Hebron, and to all the places where Doeg and his men had camped. Chapter 31. 1 Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled away from ye Philistines, and they fell down wounded in Mount Gilboa. 2 And the Philistines pressed sore upon Saul and his sons, and slew Ionathan, and Abinadab, and Malchishua Saul's sons. 3 And when the battle went sore against Saul, the archers and bowmen hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. For then said Saul to his armor-bearer, Draw out thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest the uncircumcised come and thrust me through and mock me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. 5 And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword, and died with him. 6 So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor-bearer, and all his men that same day together. 7 And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they of the other side Iordan saw that the men of Israel were put to flight, and that Saul and his sons were dead, then they left the cities, and ran away, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. 8 And on the morrow when the Philistines were come to spoil them that were slain, they found Saul and his 3 sons lying in Mount Gilboa. 9 And they cut off his head, and stripped him out of his armor, and sent into the land of ye Philistines on Uri side, that they should publish it in the temple of their idols, and among the people. 10 And they laid VP his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, but they hanged VP his body on the wall of Bethshan. 11 When the inhabitants of Iabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, 12 Then they arose, as many as were strong men, and went all night, and took the body of Saul, and the bodies of his sons, from the wall of Bethshan, and came to Iabesh, and burnt them there. 13 And took their bones and buried them under a tree at Iabesh, and fasted 7 days.